I don't support this group of amendments, and I have a number of questions in relation to it. I know, Minister, you've said that you said at committee, but I don't ever remember, and I'm open to correction, that there was talk of a dissolution day and the scheme being sort of, dissolved. I know it's not a scheme that's going to maybe last forever, but I'm not comfortable with the fact that we're talking about dissolution of an office as flawed as the scheme is, and then that the transfer of powers over to whoever the Minister of the day is, particularly in relation to any outstanding claims or legal proceedings. Like, we often look for reviews in legislation, and if I'm remembering correctly from committee stage, it was one thing that we did agree on, that there would be a review. Would it not be more appropriate at that point to look at how the institution or the agency will be dissolved, or how it will be handled? I'm very uncomfortable with the fact that we're talking about dissolving an office or an agency. I can't think of the correct word, but before this is even up and running. I don't know, I'm very uncomfortable, and I think it gives too much power over to the Minister and then the department, really, by default, in relation to kind of deadlines. And I find it difficult in a way sometimes to talk about the kind of technicalities of this scheme, because I feel so fundamentally against it because of everything we just discussed in the last amendment. But I definitely don't support this. I don't think that this should be in, and if there needs to be, for whatever technical or legal reasons that someone can point out to me in relation to, dissolving, then can that not be done at a time of review when we review the legislation? Are we not saying that we're going to review it at a 2-year stage? So I won't be supporting these amendments for that reason. Thanks, Chair.
Thanks very much, Deputy. So, Deputy Funchion, in answer to your question, so the establishment of the scheme and the duration of the scheme are set up in sections 5 and 6 of the legislation. So the duration of the scheme is set out there in section 6, and it says, subject to subsection 2, the scheme shall cease to operate on the following day in this Act referred to as the secession date, when that's either the date that is the 5th anniversary of the establishment day, or such date that the Minister may, by order, specify that is earlier than that date. So there is a provision for a secession date for the scheme to actually close, and after such point that the scheme is closed, then you would have a dissolution of the office that was designed to provide and base the scheme. In terms of Deputy Sherlock, so again, there are a number of sections in the legislation dealing with the establishment of the chief deciding officer. So the method of appointment is set out in section 8. I think importantly, so the chief deciding officer will be a member of the civil service, but I think it is important to say that their independence in terms of the functions they take place is set out clearly in legislation. So if you look at section 913, it states the chief deciding officer shall be independent in the performance of the functions conferred on him or her under this Act. So whereas it is a member of the civil service, there is a clear legislative protection of the independence of the functions under this particular Act. There will be an office then established under the chief deciding officer that will undertake the various administrative roles that will be necessary to implement a scheme of this scale.
So we're saying that the scheme is going to wrap up within 5 years, is that correct? Or earlier, potentially, if... Is that, can I just get clarity on that? Yeah, because then why are we doing a review 2 years in? It just doesn't make any sense to me that we would be setting a date now, or setting it in legislation as to when it will wrap up, and we're supposed to be doing a review. I'm sure if we do a review 2 years into something, it'll nearly be at the 5 years by the time is actually done, the way things operate in this place. So I just don't, as I say, I find it difficult to support any of this going forward, just given the nature of the debate in the last amendment as well. I think we really had an opportunity to do the right thing, and unfortunately that wasn't taken. So anyway, I'm going to be calling a vote on this, just so you know.